So, Kenya Moore will not be filming, as you guys, they say, for the rest of the season. So Kenya Moore seemingly blessed Cohan for his selective outrage regarding her incident with Britt Eady, right? The two co-hosts are extremely ignorant. S.A. Remember, that's what Phaedra accused Candy of attempting to do to Portia. Revenge P. If someone showed Kim K's sex tape to you, is that revenge P? I found that plus tons other online. She signed a release for it too, so it's fair receipts, can you say? Warning, if you're not an attorney and familiar with Georgia law, then STFU. Sick of the bias and selective outrage, these comments should not have aired. It's a podcast where it is legal. You don't want activated Kenya. Don't activate Kenya, you guys. I shouldn't have shown at my event, but for the love of God, why would they ignore a clear gun threat? Yes.
You're right. Whatever. She shows up to Kenya's opening of her gorgeous salon, which is beautiful, that Kenya has worked so hard on, that she dedicated to her daughter. And it's this big event opening it with all these people there. And Britt comes in and brings her flowers and says, I want to apologize to you, and a note. And Kenya totally ignores her, like totally. And Britt's like, okay, I'm just going to leave these here. And Britt leaves. And then Kenya gets up and makes her whole opening about
Liberty Mutual is all she talks about since we saved hundreds by bundling our home and auto insurance.
And I started looking into who this woman is, and this is who she is. And she started showing pictures of her.
Like poster board that you
And this is like one of the pictures is revenge porn type.
Yes.
Okay. One of the pictures is her like, oral sexing. Yeah. And
so what we've been waiting for on Love and Marriage Huntsville is for the producer, for Carlos King to acknowledge that he has martel host, has been convicted of the same thing, but yet revenge porn, right? Yet Martel has not been made accountable. But this is the difference between Bravo and OWN Network.
And the Atlanta Housewives are like, we're out, when the place like clears out. Yeah. And then there's and Cynthia said, in all my time at the show, this is the lowest I've ever seen anything yet. And
so I don't think Kenya did not like that. She did not like the fact that Cynthia did not agree with her, right? Cynthia said this was the lowest, you guys. But Brett did threaten Kenya, you guys. She threatened Kenya. So are we gonna look over that gun violence that she threatened her with? She says, I still got my pistol. She was acting crazy and unhinged. She was acting so crazy till Portia offered her a ride, Andy. So what are you gonna do about Britt?
So that's what, and then there's this line at the end of the show that says, Bravo.
Tisha tells us Andy is.
At the end of last week's episode, like, I have a gun and a whip, or something like that. I saw that. And on this week's episode, they all said to Britt, you can't say that shit. And she was like, yeah, you're right, whatever. She shows up to Kenya's opening of her gorgeous salon, which is beautiful, that Kenya has worked so hard on, that she dedicated to her daughter. And it's this big event opening it with all these people there. And Britt comes in and brings her flowers and says, I want to apologize to you and a note. And Kenya totally ignores her, like totally. And Britt's like, okay, I'm just going to leave these here. And Britt leaves. And then Kenya gets up and makes her whole opening about someone came after me and they shouldn't have. And I started looking into who this woman is, and this is who she is. And she started showing pictures of her. Like poster board. And this is like one of the pictures is revenge porn type. Yes. Okay. One of the pictures is her. Like, real sexy, yeah. And so, and the Atlanta housewives were like, we're out. The place like clears out. Yes. And so, and then there's and Cynthia saying, oh my time at the show, this is the lowest I've ever seen anything yet. And so that's what, and the show that says, Bravo, stop filming with Kenya after this.
Angela King.
So you guys watch how Bravo handled that. I'm wondering when will On Network hold Martel accountable for all of he been convicted. But anyway, you guys, Britt did threaten Kenya. Y'all know that? Britt was so aggressive. I don't know. Kenya tried to ignore her. She said, you just need a moment. You just need a moment. That's all you need. And she was, and Britt was just still being aggressive. She still kept coming from her. And then she said, I know, Kenya kept saying, I know you need a moment. And then Britt said, no, you need a moment. And then, yeah, Kenya said, peasant can't come for a queen. And man, that must have cut her like a knife through Brick's soul, cause Brick started acting like a maniac. She did, y'all. She was outside yelling and screaming. Yeah, she yelling and screaming outside, but how she got a pow. She still had, I still got my pow. Or me, you guys. But I'm wondering, you guys, when Kelly and that guy, I don't know who it was, I guess it was her husband, was trying to calm her down, just trying to silence her, it was almost seemed like it was workplace violence. That's what was going on, Andy turned it revenge porn. Yeah, it was very toxic, you guys, but I want to know, why is it that Andy is ignoring, or On is ignoring that threat? Because I do know that Portia drove up and Portia said, you need a ride. Kenya, I think Kenya was a little fearful at that point. Well, that's the story, you guys. Y'all see what happened afterwards. Y'all saw why she decided that she was going to get that poster out and show nudity of this young lady, Britt. But anyway, you guys, I want to know, what do y'all think about that? At least, I'm down with Kenya right here. And the reason I'm down with Kenya right now is because if you were going to hold Kenya accountable, why not hold Britt? Britt, she trying to act like she over there crying and carrying on to her husband and talking about how her insurance license don't be taken away from her. She is not a victim. They both were wrong. Yeah, they both was wrong. But one thing I can say about Bravo, at least they acknowledged the revenge P and suspended her, something that On has never did. Why is it On will not hold Martel hoax responsible? Will On ever fire Martel hoax? He's been convicted, you guys. Not just not just went through court and they threw the court case out or dismissed it. He's been convicted, and he's still fighting it. He's still fighting that case. At this point, fans and subscribers are still asking, when will Martel be held accountable for what he has did to his ex? he also was doing revenge P as well. He went to court. Now, as you can see, this picture right here was a court date for his harassment communication charge, you guys. He was convicted of it, trying to threaten his ex-wife with a revenge P. The same thing that Bravo is accusing this young lady of. But as you can see, he has been in contempt of court, right? Let's just see what they say. That final judgment since this divorce decree in September 6, 2022, Martel has been acting up. He's been erratic. If y'all think Brick was erratic, what about Martel? Martel got 10 times, 100 times more erratic than Brick was. Well, anyway, the father has willfully violated over and over again. I was just sitting up there in that hallway looking at him. Y'all can see he looking back at me. That's what he was looking back at. And I was standing up there looking at him. Now he was confused because on this day, when he got to that courtroom, they were having a jury trial in there. And so right after that, Martel had to find his way. He wasn't even prepared. I don't know if he had talked it over with his lawyer, but that was the room he was supposed to be in, and they canceled it because they were having jury trial. But he has willingly violated the above provision by allowing his paramour to make discouraging remarks about the mother. He continuously violates, but yet he's never held accountable, you guys. Even his paramour is also harassing Melody. Workplace violence is what this is. This is so toxic till Melody had to leave. So anyway, the paramour is making discouraging remark about the mother. The father has shown the minor children videos of their mother on dates with other men and making inappropriate comments about the video in the minor children. Now, that was no inappropriate thing. I did discover that this man was talking about a movie that this woman was doing. This one, Melody had this man's feet in her lap or whatever. This had her feet in this man's lap. She was in a movie. He was her play husband in a movie. But yet, he would bring that to court. Anyway, he doesn't do anything that the court says. But the father continued to disseminate information to bloggers concerning the previous custody case, therefore placing the minor children in the middle of the party dispute litigation. This is about custody. This is about this man's behavior, his erratic behavior, you guys. But this father right here threatened revenge P on his wife, on his ex-wife. At the time, she was his wife. The father continued to use corporal punishment that is excessive and abusive towards the minor children, including but not limited to choking, grabbing, punching the minor son, hitting all the children, pulling and twisting them. Lord Jesus. The father had refused to follow the court order as he had stopped therapy between him and the minor children. Again, y'all see this viciousness, this erratic behavior from Martel. It had gotten so bad to he in court now, and he's still on network, is still not holding him accountable. The father actions are contemptuous in nature and should be punished accordingly. I think so too. It is clear by the father action that he has no intention of complying with any of the orders of this honorable court. And the mother requests that the father be found in civil and criminal contempt for said willful disregard of the court previous order or in the eternity that this matter be set for hearing, and the Father be ordered to appear and show cause why he should not be held in civil and criminal contempt of court for his violation of the court orders as referenced above. So he has violated court orders. He has even been convicted since then. Since this came out right here, y'all, he's been convicted of harassment communication. Revenge P, you guys. Now, On Network hasn't done anything, hasn't even suspended this man, hasn't held him accountable. Bravo can just do that with just immediately. With Kenya. What did they do? They suspended Kenya. Now, I'm not going to say that other young lady was wrong, because she was, but we're talking about Revenge P. Contempt of court. He has violated. And right there, you guys, that's him standing right there in that hallway looking down at me, straight at my face, when he went to court for the criminal case for Revenge P. That's what that was for. The communication, harassment communication. He had threatened to send videos out of his wife doing oral things to him. At the time, that was his wife, and he was just showing the bottom down to pretend like it was another man. His paramour. He enlisted his paramour to help him, you guys. Yeah, when will OWN fire this man? When will OWN have some kind of accountability? Workplace toxicity, it is. Hello, I'm author owner of the book Black Titanic. And I just want to thank you guys for buying my book. I just want to come out and personally and say thank you to you guys, because a lot of you know my book, but you've never seen my face. But anyway, the title of writing this book, The Black Titanic, was planted into my memory early on. And the seed started as a child when my grandparents were telling me the history of the Titanic and about my Aunt Malina Bordens, which was my grandfather's sister. She actually was aboard the Titanic. It is a true story. I have been in direct contact with my grandparents, who was born from the 18th century. And as I inherit my great auntie's spirit, I see it. I relive it in dreams and envision her life experience above the Titanic. I actually see how they were abandoned and left to die aboard the Titanic. Anyway, this history was passed along to me, so now I'm passing this history along to you guys. It's encoded into my memory. It's encoded into my DNA, and I'm glad I got the book out before I died. And so I hope some of you young kids, y'all take the book and keep it rolling, because our history is always hidden, for we are our ancestors, and we always come back to tell. Thank you. Today, I will be dedicating this section of the video to the blacks that died aboard the Titanic, April the 14th to April the 15th, 1912. The Titanic hit an iceberg and sank. And as you guys know, blacks was not listed, or they don't list the blacks among the Titanic. So anyway, they did, after I wrote my book and started talking about my great aunt being on the Titanic, after they done keep saying incorrect, no blacks was not on the Titanic, especially my auntie, then they found Jospeh Laroache. Jospeh Laroache and his biracial family. But Jospeh Laroache was, he was like a prince. His uncle was the president of Haiti. And at that time, y'all remember it, also the Haiti Revolution. His grandfather helped lead the Haiti Revolution. So, you know, he was trying to say he was like a prince. royalty, very important. So they knew they had to sign that black man up on the Titanic, make sure that he was there. But anyway, let me go ahead on and read this to y'all. I'm just babbling. Titanic victim Malina Borden, who is my grandfather's sister, y'all. That's why it's so important that y'all talk to the elders in your family and learn about your oral history. If you don't tell it, nobody else going to tell your history. A lot of history that you guys don't know, because the larger society is not going to tell you about anything that's going on with you and your family. Anyway, my auntie drowned at sea as she was working aboard the Titanic. Lifeboats were made available to white women and white children only. The black workers were not listed among the passenger or victims. They were only listed among property that was lost. The facts they don't tell you. So let's get into it. Let's go. Let's talk about Malina Borden and Jospeh Laroache, honoring our ancestors. Finally, I want to honor my ancestor that was on the Titanic. This is the unsolved disappearance of Malina Borden. The disappearance of Linda still remains an unsolved mystery. Over 100 years ago, oral history has been told by the elder, is that Malina Borden was an unlisted passenger above the Titanic. She was traveling as a personal caregiver and with an independent European contractor. Of course, we must listen to the elders. Just listening to the elders lets you take a journey through their minds. And it's like walking through a library, because they have ancestors' knowledge, because they have old untold stories. This is Black Titanic. Hit that like button, share, and subscribe now. I need you guys' help now. Hit the like button, share, and subscribe. This is Arthur Oma. So in my book called Black Titanic, it's about my auntie who perished above the Titanic at the age of 22. She was an enlisted passenger. She specialized in healing herbs. She was an expert healer among the rich and famous. During the sinking of the Titanic, she perished. Her body was never found. In addition, so-called Titanic experts said she never exists. But often black people are left out of history. And so we must tell our own stories or it will never get told. Furthermore, one thing for sure, our ancestors always come back to tell. Jospeh Laroache was a black engineer aboard the Titanic with his biracial family. He perished as well. He was a Haitian. In fact, let me put him, there you go. In fact, Jospeh Laroache's uncle was a military man. He had overthrew Haiti. They won that fight in Haiti, you guys. So he was royalty. His uncle was the president of Haiti at the time, Jospeh Laroache.
To the home of Black Titanic, please like and subscribe. Laroache. Now, he was a black. Say it again, Kevin. I gotta get his name. Laroache. There we go. Laroache. There we go.
There you go, Jospeh Laroache, y'all. That's it. And his family who died above the Titanic, and they had to honor this black man, right? Because like I said, he was royalty. His uncle was the president of Haiti, and then he had family members that led into Haiti, the independence of Haiti today. So he came from a military background. So, but I often wonder, what did his family think about him marrying a white woman? But in my book, Black Titanic, you guys, you need to get that book because it tells the story of what happened just before they died, just before the blacks on board the Titanic died. There is a book. The first book that came out tells the story of blacks aboard the Titanic and what happened to them, you guys. So they really was being unalive on that boat, right? They were being unalive on that boat. And they didn't even turn off they did not even turn off their prejudiceness, even above all that danger, you guys. But anyway, Joseph Laroche along with England was above the Titanic, and it was plenty more blacks on that Titanic, mostly from Ireland. Yeah. Anyway, Joseph LaRue and my aunt Melinda. In fact, my grandfather, he really, really grieved himself to death over his sister